Hey guys, it's John. Welcome back to my channel. You know, they say everyone's a critic, and I'm just another one of them. So for my first review, I wanted to talk about the latest Star Wars film, The Last Jedi, which is written and directed by Rian Johnson. Now, fair warning, this is a spoiler review. I do have a non-spoiler review that was written for my website, rocketproductions.com. I'll have a link to that review in the description below. So again, fair warning, we're going into the details here. So let's talk about the things that I liked first. As mentioned in my written review, I loved the Rey and Luke scenes. I could have had a whole movie with that. I love the way that Luke is really disgruntled. He is very much not in tune with the Force anymore. He almost feels betrayed by it in a way. And I love the lessons that he teaches Rey as well. It's not strictly like another repeat of what Yoda did with Luke back in The Empire Strikes Back. It's a little bit more of that. It's about explaining how there needs to be a balance and not necessarily one, the light, or the dark toppling over the other. I thought they had a really good dynamic. They're very at odds with each other because, Luke is he wants to be left alone. He's there on that island to die, as he says. And Rey's keeps insisting that he needs to go with them. Like, the Resistance needs you. They need the Jedi Master back. And he's very much against that idea. And I really like that. It's great to see that, one, Luke has changed throughout the course of time, but also there's hints of his character from the original trilogy. Like his scene with R2 on the Falcon. I thought that was a great little thing, especially when they replayed the recording from A New Hope. Another thing I liked was the Rey and Kylo Ren dynamic. I know that it's revealed later on that Snoke is the one that links them together. But, in the beginning it made me think, oh, maybe there is more of a connection to them. But I really loved them going back and forth on how they are, opening up to each other kind of in a way, and things get revealed, like how Luke was originally going to kill Kylo Ren, which is crazy to think about. You wouldn't think that Luke would do that, but it shows that even someone as in tune with the Force as he may fall temptation to the dark side, which is really interesting. We'll see how that relationship ends up. I don't know if Rey can truly redeem Kylo Ren. We'll see what happens. I feel like that's where it's going to end up, though. Their fight scene, though, in the throne room is great. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Even the lead up to that, the editing is so good because it's very climactic in every storyline, so you're in it, and it's really tense. And then the moment when Snoke gets sliced in half, it's just, it was a twist for sure. One thing I liked about the film is how it played with your expectations. Some people had these crazy fan theories on what Snoke is, or who Snoke is, who are Rey's parents, is there significance to that? And Rian Johnson kind of just said, screw that. It doesn't really matter. And I really enjoyed that aspect. I know that's something that some people were kind of turned off by because, they always think that there has to be something significant to it. But maybe there isn't. It kind of proves a point that anyone can be anything. They don't have to be a particular thing. They don't have to be a Skywalker to be a Jedi Master now. So that's really interesting going forward. Poe Dameron. I'm really glad he got more development. In Force Awakens, he's barely in it. Really kind of him and Finn swap in terms of development this time around. We see Poe turning into the potential leader. It shows that he's more than just this cocky hotshot pilot, So that he learns a lot of things throughout the course of the film. Though there's definitely a couple plot issues with that. How it's how come Laura Dern's character Admiral Holdo didn't just tell Poe about the plan. That would save a lot of time, and when there wouldn't be a coup, and I don't know. I still liked it though. I think it was necessary for Poe's development, and I really like the character now. I was kind of indifferent to him because I felt like I didn't really get to know him that well, but I like him a lot. I look forward to him in the next movie. Overall, the film is shot really well, I thought. There's a lot of great visuals though. I remember the ship going hyperdriving through Snoke's ship is a great visual at the end with Luke looking at the sunsets again. So moving on to my dislikes, I thought the Finn and Rose storyline was very much the B plot. And, granted, the opening shot leading into the casino was good, but beyond that, the story just wasn't that engaging. It made me kept going like, please go back to Rey and Luke. Please go back to Rey and Luke. If it wants me to leave, then I feel like the scene didn't work at all. And nothing against Benicio del Toro, but like his character's just kind of like cool that he's in it. I like the guy, but his character's just very forgettable. And then there's just hijinks going on. That chase scene is just all over the place. The CG for the animals are kind of but we could have cut that out, and that really would have shortened the run time a bit more. This thing is at 2.5 hours. It is quite lengthy, and I think removing the Finn and Rose stuff or just doing something else probably would have been better in the long run. It's a shame, too, because I liked Finn in The Force Awakens. Here he's kind of bland. I think John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran have great interactions with each other, but just, again, it's just, the story's not enough. It doesn't engage me. It wanted me to go elsewhere. I gotta say, I'm really disappointed about the use of Phasma again. You know, why introduce a potentially cool character if you're just going to turn her into Boba Fett? At least Boba Fett actually did things very briefly in the original trilogy. Maybe instead of going to the casino planet, they could have explored Finn's backstory in the First Order and shown maybe like why Phasma and Finn could be at such odds more than he just left the First Order. Because sure, that's a good enough reason. But after a while, we need maybe a little bit more to get emotionally invested into it. Speaking of getting emotionally invested in things, I really wasn't a huge fan of the implied romance between Rose and Finn. I think if Rose was introduced in the last film, and her and Finn had a lot more interactions, it would be believable. This just feels incredibly rushed, and to be honest, it feels very one-sided. Like, it seems like Finn has much more interest in Rey than he does in Rose. I hope it doesn't mean it's like this one-sided triangle, because I don't know. I'm not looking forward to whatever may come of that. We'll see what happens. The last thing is some of the humor. I think sometimes it works, like the stuff with Luke and Rey on the island, but other times it feels a little bit forced, particularly with the Porgs. Like, they're literally made just so that people can buy stuffed animals or toys of them, you know? I think the first joke with them, when Chewie is eating a cooked porg and they're all watching, that was funny. But then after that, anytime they appear, it just feels unnecessary. Like, oh, look, here's that cute little thing again. And everyone in my audience was eating it up. You know, good for them if they like it. It just wasn't my thing. And some of the jokes kind of missed also. I can't remember any particular examples, so that really shows how non-memorable the humor really was. So overall, I like The Last Jedi. I don't think it's the best Star Wars movie, but Rian Johnson had a vision and he pretty much stuck with it, though I wish there was a couple story elements that could have been tweaked or changed around. So I'm going to give this a wait for DVD. Obviously, if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, chances are you probably saw it this weekend. You know, it's a good continuation of The Force Awakens. I think if you like The Force Awakens, you'll probably like this one too. Though there's been mixed reactions across the board, so who really knows? What did you think of The Last Jedi? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to have a discussion with you about this. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you for my next review.